Welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can cut felt with the Cricut Explorer or Cricut Joy machines. I have a video coming up making a felt heart banner for Valentine's Day, and I'm making it with my Maker 3 machine, but I wanted to see if there was any way Explorer or Joy users can make this as well. One of the reasons for buying a Cricut Maker is so you can use extra tools to help cut a bigger variety of materials such as felt. With the Cricut Maker, you can use the rotary blade, which is what I'm using here to cut felt, and you can see how it lifts and rotates to accomplish this. It is really cool and such a great feature of the Cricut Maker machine. So I thought, let me give this a try with my fine point blade and just see what happens. And as you can tell, it did not work very well. The problem with the fine point blade is it drags. It doesn't lift up like the rotary blade does. So I went to the internet to see if there were any hacks for this, and Maker's Gonna Learn and Oak and Lamb are two YouTube videos I found that showed a freezer paper hack. I'll link their videos down below. I've already tested this out and I'm really excited to say that it does work. What you essentially need to do is bond the fabric to something. In the past, I've seen people use heat and bond, even though I've never tried it, but this seems easier and most people already have freezer paper at home and it is less expensive. There's lots of different brands of felt, so depending on the brand, the cut settings might vary just a tiny bit. I'm using Michaels and the Cricut brand. I have two different types of felt here. They're both the same brand, but one is thinner than the other. This one is the thinner one. It's the basic felt from Michaels. It's 49 cents. And I also have the premium kind, which is thicker felt. I don't know if you can tell from the video, but this is $1.99. You can also use coupons on these, but the cut settings will be different, so I will show you both of them. I'm going to be using my Easy Press Mini to heat the freezer paper to the felt. You can use any type of heating device. I am going to set it at 375 for 30 seconds. I'm just cutting my felt down so it'll fit on my Cricut mat. Then I take my freezer paper and I cut that out and make it the same size as my felt. On the freezer paper, there is one side that is shiny, so you want the shiny side to be facing down on the felt. Then grab your heat press and press it over the felt and freezer paper for the whole time. On Oak and Lamb's YouTube channel, they used 400 degrees, and when I tested that out, I felt like the felt was difficult to take off of the freezer paper. So then I tried 350 degrees and it just didn't stick down well enough. So for me, I found a happy medium at 375. So you might want to kind of test it out yourself as well. I am putting a little bit of pressure on this, but not much. Here, I'm just doing the same exact thing with the premium felt. I trim off the excess freezer paper, then I place this down on my strong grit mat. I'm using the strong grit mat because the felt with the freezer paper is pretty thick and you don't want it to slide off of the mat at all when it's trying to cut. Now I'm in Cricut Design Space and I am going to cut out the same heart that I am using for my Valentine's Day banner. I'm going to start with my Cricut Explorer Air 2 machine and I will cut out the thin and thicker felt, and then I will switch to the Cricut Joy Extra machine. I'll click on Make It. I've already tested out all of the cut settings, so I will show you what worked best for me. So for the basic felt first, the felt wool bonded worked the best for me, and I did switch the pressure to more. I load the mat into the Cricut machine and it'll start cutting. This cut setting will cut the heart out 6 times. I forgot to show it here, but I do like to double check to make sure it cut well before I unload the Cricut machine. But it looks like it cut it out really well. Here, I'm just taking that freezer paper off of the backing of the felt. For me, it didn't just come off super easily. I did have to pull it a little bit. Once it was off, I kind of fluffed it back up a little bit and it looked perfect. So that's really exciting. Now I am going to test out the premium felt. I'm back in Cricut Design Space and I've already tested this out. I tried the wool fabric and the wool bonded fabric and it just did not cut through this thick felt very well. So what I ended up doing is creating my own cut setting. I deleted it so I can add it back in just so I can show you. So to do this, I go to Browse All Materials, then I go down to Material Settings. Then I scroll all the way to the bottom and I am going to select add new material, and I am going to type in Michael's Premium Felt. I'll hit save. And you know what? I think I'm actually going to say felt first so that it goes up by all the felt settings. Makes it easier to find it. So as you can see, the wool bonded and the wool fabric was 328 and 321 for the cut setting. I am going to go in here and hit edit, and I am actually going to bring it all the way up to 350, which is the highest cut setting that you can choose. And as you saw with the basic felt, it cut it out 6 times. I'm going to go all the way to 9 times. This felt is just very hard to cut through, so I basically am just making it the highest cut setting and the most cuts I can do. I'll select save. I'll come down here and hit done, and now I have to go back in to select that, so I'll just type in felt. Now you can see my own cut setting, the Felt Michael's Premium. It's really cool that you can create your own cut settings because now you don't have to remember anything or type it all in again. So I'll select that and hit done. I'm also going to select more for the pressure. Before cutting this out, I am going to clean my Cricut blade. After one use, there is going to be felt wrapped around it, so you definitely want to make sure to clean off your blade. This also will dull your blade more than cutting like vinyl. So if you're using a fine point blade to cut felt, you might want to have a specific blade just for felt. I load the mat in the machine and the Cricut will cut it out. Once it's done, you can see me pulling the paper up to kind of check it, and I ended up just having to check where the heart was, and I could tell that it did cut okay. I remove it from the mat, then I peel off the freezer paper from the heart. As you can see, it's a little more difficult to remove it from it. You can see some of the felt still stuck down. Here's what it looks like. It really does look great. When I turn it around, you can see it's not quite as smooth where that freezer paper was. And if the cut isn't totally clean on the side, you could take scissors and kind of snip that away a little bit. Here's the difference between the two hearts. The basic is on the left and the premium is on the right. And honestly, I prefer the basic just because it cuts out a lot easier. And for my Valentine's Day video that I'm doing, I am using the basic felt for it. So that's the one I probably would pick up if I was cutting out felt. Now I'm going to test both of these out on the Cricut Joy Extra. I did not try the Cricut Joy, but it should work the same. However, I didn't test it out, so I don't know for sure. I'm going to test the basic felt out first. Now I'm back in Cricut Design Space. I am going to switch my machine to the Joy Extra and I'll click Make It. With this machine, I went to browse all material and I typed in felt and nothing came up, so I kind of panicked for a second. I'm assuming nothing came up because you're not meant to cut felt with the Joy Extra. So then I thought I might as well just create my own setting for this one too. I'll go down to material settings and scroll down to the bottom. Then I'll select add new material and I am going to type in felt basic. I'll hit save. For the basic felt on the Explorer machine, the cut pressure was 321 and it cut it 6 times. I tried that with the Cricut Joy Extra and it didn't quite cut it all the way through. So what I'm going to do is go all the way up to 350. So I'm going from 321 to 350, but I did do just the 6 times and that did work. The Cricut Joy just might not be as strong when cutting through material as the Cricut Explorer machine. So then I'll just hit save and I will search felt. I placed my felt on the mat and it started cutting out and it just wasn't cutting out on the top very well. At first I wasn't sure why, but I think I just didn't have it quite high enough on the mat. So I put it up a little bit higher and then it worked fine. Then I removed it from the mat and took the felt off the freezer paper, and I'm just really excited because you can see that it worked great. So who knew that you can cut felt with the Cricut Joy machine? I did try the premium felt on the Joy machine and I put it all the way up to 350 for the cut setting and I changed it to 9 times to cut and I set it to more and everything and it just would not cut through it. Also with the Cricut Joy, you can't try to recut it, you have to unload it. So this thicker premium felt did not work for me. It definitely will depend on what type of felt you're using. Like I said, this premium felt is very thick, and I even preferred the thinner basic felt. And that is it for this video. I am so excited to say that you can cut felt with the Cricut Explore machine and the Joy machine. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments or any other advice or tips. I would love to hear it. I would also love it if you gave this video a thumbs up and if you subscribe to my channel if you are new.